Call to order. City Council meeting for May 25th. Mr. Adams, can we have a roll call?
Mayor Clea McCaw.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Carolyn Humphrey.
Present.
Councilmember William Benning.
Present.
Councilmember Gregory Johnson.
Present.
Councilmember Angelica Landry.
Present.
Councilmember Marta Messmer.
Present.
Councilmember Mark Rodriguez.
Present.
Mr. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. We'll have our invocation by Deacon Dottie Goodwine from the St. Stephen's Episcopal Church. And then after she concludes, we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman Rodriguez. Could you please stand?
Let us pray. Holy One, known by many names and beyond all names, Spirit of life, Spirit of love, Spirit of community, Spirit of justice, we ask your blessings on the people who have been called to lead the community to which we live and work and play. Help them as leaders to not ask first, how do we fix this? But what do we need to learn? How might we need to change? And to whom do we need to listen? Remind them, because we all forget from time to time, especially in the noisiness of what passes for political debate today, that they are not only leaders but also servants, and that is their responsibility and ours to serve the common good of all. Remind them that no matter where we live, everyone is our neighbor, our sibling, and that throughout the ages, prophets have called the leaders of the people to respect and protect the least of those among us, our children, the elderly, the poor, those who are hungry, those who have no homes, those who are ill in body, mind, or spirit, the strangers and immigrants in our midst, those who live on the margins, those who are alone, and those who are forgotten. Grant them and us the wisdom and courage to know and do what is right and good and true. May they and we speak out when it is time to speak out, and listen patiently and receptively when it is time to listen. May they and we always be guided by the spirit of community, by the spirit of justice, and by the spirit of love. This we pray in the name of all that we hold sacred and holy, all that we hold good and right and true. May it be so. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge of allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may have your seats. Proceed to item 1. Councilwoman Messmer.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, I move that the agenda of the regular city council meeting of May 25th, 2023 be approved.
Second.
Questions, comments? No questions, comments? We're ready for the vote. All those in favor? Those opposed? She said aye. All right. Thank you. And we go to our city manager report, Mr. Batuchek.
Thank you, Mayor McCaw, members of the council. Your upcoming meeting schedule includes a work session, 3 p.m. here in the council chambers on June 6th. And then your next regular council meeting will be held June 8th, 5 p.m., also here in the council chambers. And following that, your annual budget work sessions are scheduled to begin June 12th. 3 p.m. Here in the council chambers, and if necessary, meetings are scheduled for the 13th and 14th, also at 3 p.m. here in the council chambers. A reminder that city offices will be closed Monday in observance of Memorial Day. So your refuse schedules, if you have Monday pickup, that will go to Tuesday, and Tuesday will go to Wednesday next week. Couple projects tonight. Site prep and construction for the prefab bathrooms at Arbenz and Veterans Park are underway, and those are scheduled to be completed by the end of the fiscal year, June 30th. And then the fleet restroom has started with Marsh Development. That should also be completed by June 30th. Unfortunately, it's been a rough week for our sewer system here this last week. We have a major sewer line failure at the corner of Highway 90 and Charleston, and staff is working to get that project together, and obviously we'll need to repair that as soon as possible. And then a liner is broken at the sewer ponds as well, and staff is currently evaluating that project as well. But obviously those are necessary, and we'll proceed with those as soon as humanly possible. The last things I want to report on, as we discussed Tuesday at the budget work session, we took our sales tax projection down from 4% to 3% in response to our last sales tax report, which showed our growth of sales tax revenues up only 0.11% when it had been running 8 and 9%. So prudence calls for us to be a little bit more conservative. Hopefully that's just one bad data point, and we'll see what happens. But for this year's budget, I think we need to be cautious in how we approach our projections. And finally, announcing Deputy Chief Cosmiter's retirement, 3:30 tomorrow at PD, celebrating 28 years of service with the city, and as well Judy Jones's retirement. She's sitting there in the back, and that'll be next Friday. So we'll miss both of them greatly. And
Yes, sir.
appreciate it, and that's all I have tonight. Thank you, Mayor McCollum.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, comments? City Manager? We'll proceed on. Thank you, sir. Item number 2, Councilman Johnson. Good to see you back, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, I move that the consent agenda consisting of the work session minutes of May 2nd, 2023, and May 9th, 2023, special meeting minutes of May 4th, 2023, Resolution 2023-035, acceptance of sewer easements from STRR Investments, LLC, Economic Technologies, LLC, Mendelson McMillan Family Trust, Nemau Holdings, LLC, and iFly AZ Properties, LLC, for a public sewer main extension project be approved.
Second.
Properly moved in second. Questions or comments? Ready for the vote? Ready for the vote? All those in favor? All those opposed?
Aye.
Got it. And we'll go to our public hearing items. Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that Resolution 2023-036, Amendment to Chapter 33, City Department, City Code, and declaring a 30-day public record be approved.
Second.
Staff report, Ms. Herbold.
Thank you, Mayor McCaw and members of council. So your chapter 33 of your Code of Ordinances, City Services, covers the scope of services provided by the 5 core operational departments here in the city: law enforcement, fire and emergency medical services, public works, park recreation and library, and community development and planning. So this change is a minor cleanup on a conflict found with the personnel rules and regulations regarding contracts for executive staff. It will be placed on public hearing, followed by a 30-day public comment period, after which it will return to you for consideration as an ordinance. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, comments?
So just because the contract problem was because it said the position director declared classified service, now it's changed to say the director, the chief. That's the only change I saw. That's the wording was what the conflict was?
Yes, that's correct. The ordinance specified that the director positions were classified service. They cannot be contract if they are classified.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, any other further clarification? Ready for the vote?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Go to our new business, item number 4. Pro Tem Humphrey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that Resolution 2023-037, Project Year 2023 Community Development Block Grant Program Annual Action Plan be approved.
Second.
Staff report, Mr. McLaughlin.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, as was just mentioned, we're seeking the council's permission to submit our program year 2023 annual action plan to HUD for next year's community development block grant funding. As presented at the last public hearing, the plan includes $162,575 for installing 10 to 12 fire hydrants in the Montebello neighborhood, which is located southeast of Charleston Road and Julio Cesare. United Way will receive $15,575 for a variety of assistance programs that they've successfully carried out in the past. Additionally, Cochise Family Advocacy Center will receive the same amount for increasing public awareness of their center and providing direct client services to assault victims. Southern Arizona Legal Aid will receive $6,000 for expanding their outreach and education efforts for their free civil legal aid services benefiting low to moderate income folks. We did receive one comment from the public during the 30-day comment period, which closed on May 17th. The individual questioned the amount budgeted for administration. As you'll recall, the $50,000 that's set aside for next year will be used to update the city's consolidated plan. As I know in the last work session, less than 1% of the overall community development block grant funding has been used for planning administration over the last 4 years. I think we have a good track record of focusing the funding on projects and services. In terms of next steps, HUD will have 45 days to review and approve the application. We anticipate receiving the grant agreement late summer, early fall. There shouldn't be much in the way of design on the fire hydrant project, so we anticipate that being completed during the program year. And with that, I'll answer any questions.
Questions, comments?
Just one comment about
Sir.
the seven goals that are mentioned. Obviously, we've done very well. We've done very well at doing those. My question is the neighborhood stabilization goal. That's 0%. What would that look like? What would qualify for something that's considered a neighborhood stabilization project or money needed towards something like that?
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Rodriguez, we have used CDBG funding in the past for addressing slum and blight conditions, specifically demolition. We've had sufficient funding in our abatement budget to cover those expenses and haven't had to use community development block grant funding, but that is a possibility in future annual action plans is to augment our abatement budget with community development block grant funds. We could also, if you were so inclined, charge code enforcement for doing proactive enforcement in the target areas. That hasn't been presented in the past. Again, we think we're getting by just fine with the 2 officers. So there are options available under that to implement that strategy, and we can further consider that with the update to the 5-year consolidated plan.
Okay. I asked because of what if they were to run through their budget, right, which is very easy to do in the abatement side of things, and we do happen to have some CBDG money, it would be able to use for that, and that would fall under neighborhood stabilization, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to have to accuse myself as a vice president of United Way, but I appreciate everything you did, man.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. McLaughlin, everything you do. I as well have to recuse myself.
Okay.
Since we're part of the triage of United Way. So, you ready for the vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, abstains? And we will go to our next item. Item number 5. Mr. Benning,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
sir.
I move that Resolution 2023-038, Independence Village Preliminary Plat, Lots 1 through 376, be approved.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. McLaughlin, staff report.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, this is a preliminary plat application for a 376-lot subdivision being brought forward by Castle and Cook of Arizona. This is the first step in the subdivision development process, followed by public improvement plans and then final plats for each phase. The application has been reviewed and approved by the Development Review Committee and the Planning and Zoning Commission, finding that the application complies with the city's land development regulations. This is the first development proposal for the tribute-specific plan, which encompasses 1,916 acres located north of Buffalo Soldier Trail, east of Highway 92. You'll recall the tribute-specific plan was approved by the mayor and council back in 2006. The property is entitled for just under 7,000 units. Tribute is envisioned as a coordinated master plan community that will offer a range of housing types in a traditional neighborhood format. The overall land use pattern concentrates commercial between the highway frontage and Ben Franklin Boulevard, labeled as Street A. The vision is for a walkable mixed-use town center to develop along the first 2 blocks of St. Andrews Drive. The sub-areas in pink crosshatch are designated for high-density residential development, although as Jeff mentioned at the work session, we're currently reviewing a site plan application for a charter school in the H3 sub-area. Charter schools are permitted across all zoning districts. Independence Village is proposed to develop in the M1 sub-area, which is designated for medium density residential use. The 109 acres represents about 6% of the overall specific plan area. The build-out of the neighborhood will occur in 12 phases, starting west and east of the main entrance off of St. Andrews Drive. Thomas Jefferson Boulevard and the temporary emergency access will support the development of the first 100 lots. The second access in the subdivision will be constructed with the third phase. You see Francis Lewis Street will connect with Ben Franklin Boulevard to the west, which will be developed concurrent with the school. The third access from Greenbrier Drive will be constructed prior to the commencement of Phase 7, which starts with the Lot 198. And the fourth access to the south will be built in connection with Phase 12. Staff finds that the preliminary plat and the proposed phasing meets the city's access requirements. The initial build-out will feature different product types. This graphic shows the groupings of lots by size. The darker yellow areas will contain lots around 6,000 square feet. The lighter yellow areas will be around 7,000 square feet, and the green areas will be 9,000 square feet and up. There is some variation within the sub-areas, but they're relatively standardized. The neighborhood will be served by 2 detention basins along the eastern property line. Temporary basins will be constructed during the development. At the heart of the neighborhood will be a 3-acre neighborhood park that will be reminiscent of Chaparral Village Park. In terms of development standards, the subdivision will be exclusively single-family with 1 dwelling unit per lot. The maximum building height will be capped at 28 feet. The minimum required setbacks will be 10 feet on the front and the rear, 5 feet along the sides, with the stipulation that the front face of the garage be set back at least 20 feet from behind the sidewalk to avoid encroachment issues. Perimeter access to the neighborhood will be provided by St. Andrews Drive and Greenbrier Drive, which are classified as collector streets. St. Andrews Drive will go from a commercial to a residential profile east of Ben Franklin Boulevard, and will have 10-foot wide shared use paths along both sides, as well as a landscape median. Thomas Jefferson Circle, the main entrance, will also have a landscape median. The interior residential streets will be 28 feet wide with 4-foot wide sidewalks along both sides. The south half of St. Andrews Drive and the west half of Greenbrier Drive will be constructed in accordance with the phasing plan. So in conclusion, there are 4 specific findings that must be satisfied in order to grant preliminary plat approval. Staff finds the application is consistent with the city's general plan, the tribute specific plan, development code requirements. The property is physically suitable for residential use, is not likely to cause substantial environmental damage or cause serious health problems. I'd be glad to answer any questions. Rick Kaufman's also here representing the applicant if there are any questions you have outside of what's been covered. And with that, That concludes staff's report.
Yes, sir.
When it says high density, right, and we have dwelling units limited to 28 feet in height, that means apartments, lofts, things like that, right?
The density descriptions are a little bit of a misnomer. I wouldn't consider like 4 units per acre to be medium density. I consider that a relatively low density. I think they're at 3.21 units per acre. So, yeah, high density means multifamily. However, it could be conventional suburban type multifamily, or it could have more of an urban format based on the allowances in the tribute specific plan. Within the mixed-use town center, that could also be a mix of retail, office, and residential uses, vertically or horizontally mixed use.
Okay.
So we'll just have to see what's brought forward. But high density, under the specific plan, yes, means multifamily land use types. Could be condominium, owner-occupied, or rental.
All right. Thank you.
Other questions, comments?
What's the name of the charter school? Is there a name for it yet on Brent Franklin?
American Leadership Academy.
American
is
Leadership
the
Academy.
applicant.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I just want to ask if did you want to share anything specific with us?
Mr. Kaufman, do
That
you have
you were
anything?
hoping we'd ask, okay.
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Humphries, thank you very much for asking. Mostly I want to share, we are delighted to be here finally. As many of you know, this has been a long time coming, held up originally by the Great Recession and then by a equally great lawsuit that kept us out of business for quite a while. So we're delighted to finally be able to come before you tonight. Our Tate Wilcox, our Director of Construction, is here with me, along with our salespeople, Kathy and Renee. Our engineer came in from the wilds of Bakersfield, California, and Las Vegas, from McIntosh Engineering, and that's Blaine Neptune and Dennis Lucas. So I appreciate their being here with us tonight. We also have a number of our trade partners who are working with us on this and are looking forward to it moving forward. If you could raise your hands, those that are working with us on. Yeah, anyway, so we have a lot of enthusiasm for this moving forward. We're delighted to be before you tonight with just the first of what will be many steps. Councilmember Rodriguez, in this first phase, these first 376 lots, and we'll be working on these for probably 5 years, 6 years, quite likely. There's no high density included in this. These are straight, single family, one house per one lot. But there are areas within the tribute specific plan that do allow, as Mr. McLaughlin was suggesting, higher density uses, mixed uses, and a kind of more urban feel, which is what we want to see happen in that part of the community to really develop an area that's both commercial and residential, and you can walk to work or walk downstairs and have a cup of coffee. That sort of thing is what we envision. It's going to be a little while before that happens, before the market develops for that, but that is certainly our plan, and that's incorporated in our thinking on this. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. And if they get really difficult, I'll ask Blaine or Dennis to answer them, or Tate, perhaps.
Challenge.
Mine was just a real quick, if the citizens of Sierra Vista are going to ask us timeline, what does this look like? How many years before we see the next one and the next one and the next one? What are you guys envisioning right
gosh.
now? You gave a great you gave a great presentation at the Hispanic Chamber event a few months ago. You explained a lot of stuff, but a lot of people weren't there. So if you could just talk about timeline. That's the first question people are going to ask is, what does it look like?
Sure. I wish I had a crystal ball to know. It's going to be market dependent. Right today the market is actually pretty good. Our biggest problem today is is not selling houses, it's being able to build them and deliver them. And those are not, they're not the supply chain issues that everyone heard about. We still have some of that, but really they're more labor force issues. We have an inadequate labor supply locally, and it's hard to build houses really as quickly as people would like to have them and as we would like to be able to deliver them. So anyway, if we see improvements in the labor force situation, we see improvements in the supply chain, which still is creating some problems. I would hope we get through this bunch of lots, this 376, in 4 or 5 years.
Okay. Thank you.
And it could be 3 years.
Right.
And then we'll be back in for more.
Okay.
And we're just going to start with a small group of lots and develop our first phase will be maybe 100 plus or minus lots in the 3 different, as Mr. McLaughlin was suggesting, the 3 different what we refer to as product types, 3 different lot sizes. So we'll see how it goes. Run it up the flagpole and see if we get a lot of salutes.
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say, Rick, thanks for coming out. I know we've been talking about this forever. It's finally good to see plans and hopefully soon see dirt move. And
we are eager to see some dirt moving.
Yes, sir.
We've
So
done
it'll be
lots of
good.
planning, and we have more to do. That's not to,
Roger.
that needs to be done. But we're also eager to. We're in the business of building and delivering houses and developing neighborhoods and communities. So we want to see this move forward
Yes, sir.
expeditiously. So
I want to thank you for attending the meeting tonight and for all of you attending. And you and Mr. Wilcox for attending the planning and zoning meetings. I think that's where a lot of our questions were answered for the mayor, and Marta was, Councilmember Mesmer was there as well. So thank you for taking the time to make yourself available for all those questions and all those meetings.
absolutely, and any time my phone is open, and we're any of us are ready to come and explain, or if things deviate a little bit, and they often do, we're happy to sit down and work those things out.
Yes, sir. And sir, I echo the council. We thank you, and I know it's a long time coming, and just it's so excited for Councilman Cook and how we move forward. And if you need a crystal ball, Chuck has one in his office.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We shall.
And it works.
Any more questions, comments? Everybody ready for the vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It is passed. All right. I think somebody's happy. Excellent. That's what I like. And we go to item number 6. Councilman Mesmer.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that the resolution 2023-039, a request to proceed with the alley abandonment from Sierra Center to North Avenue, be approved.
Second.
Staff report, Mr. McLaughlin.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, this is a city-initiated abandonment request involving 2 alleyway segments in the vicinity of North Avenue and Sears Center, as shown on the overhead map when that gets turned on. So the process begins with the council's authorization to allow us to proceed with the 2 public hearings that are required before the Planning and Zoning Commission and the later City Council. What instigated this matter, as you may recall, is a complaint about the east-west alley being gated as entrance from North Avenue. The current property to the north believes that the former owner was granted permission by the city. It only recently came to our attention that it was gated off, and under the city's ordinances, public alleyways cannot be encumbered. So that's what brought us to this proposed action. And based on a review, the alleyways never fulfilled their original intent of providing vehicular circulation through the neighborhood. The segment to the east that carried alley traffic through to Taylor Avenue was previously abandoned. The right-of-way for extending Freehaj to the south between North and Taylor Avenues was also abandoned, cutting off north-south continuity. And so we consulted with both property owners that adjoin this alleyway, and they concur that with the proposed abandonment petition moving forward, as part of the process, we'll be reaching out to utility companies, make sure that any needed easements are secured in advance of the abandonment. If it is approved, the property will revert back to the adjoining owners along the center line of the alleys. It's also my understanding that the property owners are working out a separate private ingress-egress easement to provide driveway access from North Avenue that were recorded simultaneous with the abandonment, and they'll both have access through the gate. So again, at this stage, we're just asking for your authorization to proceed with the public notices and hearings, reaching out to the affected parties, and just confirming that this is, that no objections are received to proceed. Yep.
Excellent.
That's it.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, comments? Yes, sir.
You cleared up some comments during the work session the other day. I had another one about alleyway 2. So the same will be there. So it'll be 20-foot alleyway, so 10 feet and 10 feet will be divided amongst property owners, right? Alleyway 2 is currently abandoned, but it is used by parents that park there for the soccer fields. So if they're parking there in that alley, which is currently abandoned, soon that will not be longer be abandoned. It'll be given, that'll actually be the property of the adjoining
The church.
office or property owners. Is that what you're saying? So they could technically come out and say, hey, you're parked on my property, you need to move. Is that a possibility now?
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Rodriguez, yeah, post-abandonment, the property accrues to the adjoining property owners along the
Okay.
midpoint, so it will be private property. I wasn't aware that people are parking in the public alleyway.
Well,
Is that?
well, the other issue is
Okay.
we just finished that big parking lot, which is nice. I think eventually what we need to do is have a nice sidewalk that goes from that parking lot to the Sear, because we currently don't have a sidewalk right there.
We installed a multi-use path from the.
Right, there's these on one side. So I'm talking about the other side, maybe, because parking gets weird there, because it's just fences and dirt right now, and so, you know, I don't know how that would change things for them. If they, for those current fences, like the fence that's up right now that wasn't supposed to be there to begin with, if we were ever to beautify that area, that might cause some issues, but,
North, I don't think so.
yeah, I mean, there's nothing there, it's just dirt on one side. So a lot of people park there.
Yeah.
And they block those people's businesses because they don't use the big parking lot. Because I'm assuming, I don't know, it's just closer, I think, it's just more convenient, but
Convenience.
there is some movement there a lot when we have sporting events there, especially soccer.
Yes, sir.
That I think will maybe need some adjusting as we move forward, but, I don't know if it's like, and there's a multi-use path there, yes, correct.
Yeah,
But
sure.
across the street, adjacent to these businesses,
nothing, right.
there's nothing there, there's no sidewalk, there's nothing like that.
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Rodriguez, Irene just informed me that there is a project on our 5-year capital improvement
Okay.
program list to
Perfect.
address that need.
Okay.
And so, and again, this is in a target area for CDBG funding
Yeah.
that could also be considered in a future annual action plan as well.
Okay.
So,
So, that's great, I love that. So as long as the property owners know that, hey, you have a fence here now, there might be a sidewalk coming in, so that might affect your access to that fence or not. I don't know if they'll be grandfathered or not, things like that, just to keep in mind when it comes to talking to those business owners, I would say. That's all I
Well-
got.
Any other questions, comments? Vote to proceed forward. Everybody ready for the vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It is passed. All right, now we have a call to the public. Mr. Greg Brown. Mr. Brown, you can come to the podium. This will be green. When it turns red, your 5 minutes. When it turns red, your 5 minutes is expired, and you need to conclude.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for letting me speak. I want to talk about sewer lines. I recently had the misfortune to have a sewer line at my house dug up for the second time in 4 years. The first time it was in the yard, that was all on me, understood that. Insurance, as you may well be aware, doesn't pay for that at all. They won't pay for damage from roots or age or what have you. The second time, the sewer line portion that needed to be repaired was under the sidewalk. And currently, the city does not cover anything as far as the sewer line is concerned for the property owner. I'm responsible for it all the way from my house out to the middle of the street where it ties into the main sewer line. It cost me $9,688, amount burned in my head, for them to remove 2 sections of the sidewalk, dig down the 7 or 8 feet, it's really deep where they've got the sewer lines, repair it, then fill it back in, and then repair the sidewalk. If it had gone out into the street, they already told me it was going to cost me probably in the neighborhood of $15,000. And I would suggest to you that I'm one of the lucky ones in that I had the funds available to afford to do that. I'm sure we have a lot of residents here that if that happens at their house, if they're retirees on fixed income, maybe a young couple just starting out, I don't know what they'll do, because that's a lot of money to have to shell out, especially with the sidewalk repair. And if it had gone into the street, I would have had to have the street dug up. I would have also had to pay for the paving company to come out and repair the street after it was finished. I would like to see the city take responsibility from my property line out to the main sewer line. The homeowner remain responsible from their property line back into their house. That's only fair. But it seems to me if it's under city property, it ought to be the city's responsibility to repair that. Subject to questions, I guess that's about all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. We cannot address you, but we will. City manager and I have already talked about this.
Yeah,
how
this
we
has come
move
up
forward.
before.
So we will move forward with some suggestions.
Thank you for the time. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, sir.
you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. All right. Any more call to the publics? All right. And we'll go to comments and requests of council. Councilwoman Landry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate being able to call in as I can't be there. I just wanted to wish everybody a very happy and safe weekend, holiday weekend. There's lots going on in the city, in the park this Saturday. After if anybody's doing the Summit Challenge, there's going to be a great time in the park with wine and beer and vendors and food and music. So that'll be a really great time. And I just wish everybody a happy and safe weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Benny.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be brief. First, I want to welcome back and glad to see Councilmember Johnson in good health and good standing. Good to have you back. Apologize for not being here on Tuesday. I've been having fun with my wrist, and hopefully it's going to be over soon.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
And then just a quick funny, Councilman Rodriguez set up a tour for Palominos. Did I say it right? I can't never tell you. Palominos Elementary School. And we went through procurement, which a lot of kids don't understand what procurement is and what buyers are. And Kenny, our procurement director, she talked to them about it and what they did. And 2 little girls were walking upstairs, going to see the council chambers, and one turned to the other, says, "That's what I'm going to do for a living, be a professional shopper." And, I thanked her, and I told Kenny she wasn't going to be here tonight, but I just, those are the things that we leave in people's minds that, these kids may have never had an idea what procurement is, and now a 3rd grader wants to be a professional shopper with other people's money. That's all I have. Y'all be safe this weekend, and I look forward to the Wine, Beer, and Spirit Festival. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Go to Councilman Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A prayer for the parishioners of the First Presbyterian Church and St. Stephen's Church that were tragically burned in Douglas this week. They're suspecting arson. We don't know anything further than the tremendous loss of 2 historic churches in Douglas. Additionally, congratulations to all the graduates. We've got a couple graduations going on tonight, I understand. Tombstone and, or is it Benson? Buena? Yeah, how could I forget? Ties up all the traffic in my neighborhood. Also, we've got the Wine Fest on Saturday, looking forward to that, beginning at 12 noon. That's always a great event. Also on Memorial Day, it's not a day to honor veterans, but an honor to those that gave their all. And at the Southern Arizona Veterans Cemetery on Monday at 8:30, there will be a service and a ceremony there. It's always very moving. And additionally, apologies to my colleagues for missing the last two work sessions. I've been dealing with doctor visits and tests, but I have kept up with the thousands on YouTube to see what was going on at the work sessions. So it's just one of those things that you have to deal with, doctor schedules and testing. So appreciate everybody's concern, and I'm back. So we haven't figured out what to do yet, but hopefully that'll be soon. And thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Messmer.
Thank you, Mayor. We've had over 1,000 visitors to the museum, which is really great. So our museum is doing well. And starting in June, we're going to have Fossil Friday. So they're going to take out a fossil and go into depth about that fossil. So please come visit the Jurassic Wonders at our museum. And I just would like to wish everybody a great Memorial Day and a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And Councilman Rodriguez.
Thank you. I'll be fast. Gas is on sale at Circle K right now for 40 cents off, so it's causing some traffic issues out there.
Yes.
It's a really good deal. It's like $3.15. So, Chief, I'm sure you're going to get a bunch of traffic calls at every Circle K. It ends at 7 p.m., so go get your gas. Scholarship Foundations for the University of South Foundation is open right now. It closes June 12th. You can get $8,000 scholarship. We recently went to a graduation in the area here at Buena High School, and there were some scholarship recipients that were there. Got to meet them in person, so it's a great program. So go look for that online and apply. I want to say farewell to Mr. Saul Pichardo from Texas Roadhouse.
Yes.
He's been an amazing asset to our community. Anytime you see food donated anywhere, he's behind it. I mean, I feel bad sometimes asking him for stuff for other because he does so much already. He's one of those people I try to leave him alone. Like, I won't ask him, but he always gives anyway. He's moving on to Casa Grande. He's going to be replaced by somebody else who has really big shoes to fill. So I hope they're ready for that. Palamina's third grade, awesome field trip. Miss Angel Rose contacted me to set it up. So I want to thank all the city staff that was here, the city council members that showed up to help, the mayor, the PD, fire, sheriff, animal control. The kids loved it. And I think we have some future leaders there that want to come back and work at City Hall. And I just want to thank for that amazing prayer and reminder that anybody in public service should hear that. I would love to read that every time as a reminder before I start doing something. You hit a lot of really good points that really hit home for me. So I think everybody can take something back from your prayer. So I really appreciate that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Excellent. Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to echo everything. I know we're in a rush because we have another graduation tonight, but I want to congratulate all the graduates, especially special shout out to our 4 new officers. They're not recruits anymore. They got their badges today in Douglas. So 4 new officers at SBPD. Actually, there were officers graduating for the county and Greenlee County, FEMA. There were a bunch of agencies there, and it was a nice ceremony, and they're all very excited to get to work, which makes me feel better because we desperately need them with our retirements coming up, and we're really going to miss Deputy Chief Kosminer, and I'm looking forward to seeing him tomorrow. And good luck, Dr. Landry, on your hike tomorrow. I think she's doing all 3 peaks. And so I'm going to wait for her at the Wine Fest. Yeah. I'll meet you at the park. And that's it. Thank you.
Alibis.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I can't believe it got all the way around, but I do need to say congratulations to our very own Mayor Pro Tem Humphreys for receiving her associates. She walked over the city last week, so congratulations.
Thank you.
And that's it.
Excellent. So I spoke with Raymond Bragdon. He is the gentleman that spoken and visited with him. He's the gentleman that got hit by the low car driver. He was released from the hospital, and he wants to certainly thank fire department, the responders, and the police department, the first on scene, for putting his arm in a tourniquet. That really helped out. He said the only thing that he was thinking about when he got hit and he went into the air 10 feet like a helicopter was not missing his son's graduation on Wednesday night. So keep praying for him. He only has a broken wrist and a severely bruised right leg. But thank you, their chief and chief, for all the things that y'all do to protect the city and make sure that that we are safe. Enjoyed the Fort Huachuca Ball with Speaker, 4-Star General Vincent Brooks, who spoke on U.S. Special, and J.P. Lane, Pro Tem, and I had the honor to represent the city at that remarkable event. Pro Tem is a dancer. He is a dancer. Congrats to the 2023 graduates of U of A College of Applied Sciences and Technology, Cochise College, Marine Academy, Cass Charter High School, and the Buena High School alumni 1984. And on this weekend, we start our activities. On this Memorial Day weekend, we honor and remember the soldiers who fought and died in U.S. wars. Please remember them. With that, is there anything else? We are adjourned.